from $0 to $30,000 a month within 4 months as a copywriter without a single piece of cold outreach. I got kind of lucky because when I started copywriting, I had no idea what it was, and so I wasn't listening to the gurus. I was not following the common like cold outreach strategies. I was just leveraging my network, and I'm gonna give you guys the exact blueprint and strategy that I followed in order to be able to sign clients without having to send out a bunch of DMs or make a bunch of cold calls or send out a bunch of emails. So you guys can sign your first copywriting client in 7 days or less. All right, so this is basically just gonna leverage your organic network and the online community space, okay? So these are the two things that still to this day, I don't do any outreach. Like I run a business that does a lot more than 30K a month now, and I don't do a single bit of outreach. We don't even have any ads running yet. So yeah, this is gonna give you guys the blueprint that I use to do that exact thing. So before you even start the networking process or before you start reaching out to anyone in your network, you wanna make sure that your copy is good, because otherwise you can burn your network. And once you reach out to somebody and you send them a piece of copy and it's not good, you're kind of like, it's gonna be pretty hard for you to get back into that circle of trust with them where you could actually sign them as a client. So you wanna make sure the fundamentals are strong. I have an entire copywriting course that's already live on my YouTube channel, and I have another one that's coming. It's gonna be like 3-4 hours. So you wanna make sure you're studying the practices that actually work. So I would go watch a video like that or read Cashvertising if you haven't already. And then practice. Like take those strategies and actually implement them. I like, it's so obvious that it seems like I shouldn't say it, but like a lot of people just watch videos or they watch content or they take a course and they don't actually just implement the lessons that they learned. So that's a strategy that'll put you ahead of like 90% of people. It's so easy to be good. It's so easy to set yourself apart from the competition out there because there's a ton of copywriters, sure, but there's only a couple good copywriters. So like all you have to do is actually implement the strategies that you're learning in videos like this. Go and write practice copy, go and reach out to clients, go and actually sign clients and get better in the process, because there's so many people out there that are just subpar, or they're using ChatGPT, or they're just writing copy like it's a job. Like they're just kind of like filling out assignments and they could care less about the open rates, they could care less about the sales. And that is just like, it's great for us good copywriters because it makes the competition just like non-existent. So that's number one, get those fundamentals straight. Okay, so short sentences. I'm just gonna give you guys this is like a really quick overview of like copywriting fundamentals in case you don't wanna go watch a longer video. But short sentences, you wanna use short, clear, punchy sentences. And the reason for this is like, it's just so much easier to comprehend that. It's so much easier to look at a page with short sentences and be able to kind of scan it and get an idea, a rough idea of what it's trying to communicate. So you really wanna just like condense whatever your message is into as short of words, sentences, and paragraphs as possible. All right, now write it at 4th to 5th grade reading level. This just means you're using simple language that most people can easily understand, because you'd be surprised at how many people actually like didn't even finish high school, or like maybe they just don't read anymore or whatever. Like we live in a society where it's not really necessary to, you know, speak at a 12th grade reading level or write or whatever. So I like always want to make my copies easy to understand for as many people as possible. And the thing is, like, even if you are speaking to a sophisticated audience, if you make your copy at a 4th or 5th grade reading level, more of them are going to be able to understand it faster, and the faster they can understand it, the better, because we live in this attention economy. So anyways, now you want to be visual and conversational, which just means you want to kind of paint a movie in the mind of your reader. You want them to be able to like actually like visualize what it is that you're saying. So make your copy engaging and just use conversational language. Don't be like writing an email essay or writing an English essay. Like you want to literally just use language that you would use if you were talking to a friend. And then translate the value of the offer you're speaking about. So translate just means basically like using language to communicate why that offer is more valuable than the money in their bank account. Oh, there's my mic. And then the structure of your copy, you want to make it easy to scan. So that's like what we said before, short sentences, but it also means using a lot of white space. So every single sentence, I like to space it out, give it its own paragraph. Occasionally there's 2 sentences that are one thought, so they get a paragraph, but I like to think of it as like every thought gets its own paragraph, and that creates a lot of white space, which makes the reading process a lot easier and faster. And then get in the head, actually get into the psychology of the buyer. You want to study the audience that you're writing for, so that when you write for them, you're so like in depth with the pain points and the struggles and the desires that they have that they literally feel like you've read their mind. All right, those are the fundamentals. Now if you want to go deeper into that, check out the masterclass, but let's get into that first sale, because honestly you're gonna get so much better, so much faster if you actually have a client that you have to write for, because it applies some pressure. It applies like this well, first of all, you've gotten paid, so you have to do it. And it also, it's like you're proving something. So applying that pressure is honestly going to help you get better a lot faster. Day 1, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go through your entire network, your entire list of contacts, maybe even your parents' contacts, old high school teachers, college professors, contacts through your job, old jobs, old bosses, like everyone. And you want to make a list of every entrepreneurial and professional contact. And keep in mind, not everyone has to own a business, but they just might know someone who does. Start with friends and family, include past colleagues, classmates, and don't forget to reach out to people that you just know online. And maybe friends of friends, like if you have people on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever, they can go on your list. Then day 2, you want to reach out to your network, people that can actually get value from your service, and explain what you're doing. So I had a message that went out when I first started copywriting. This is how I made my first 10K. And I basically just reached out to every like entrepreneur or entrepreneurial type person. Some of them worked jobs, but they were connected to entrepreneurs. Like one of them was a business professor, for example. And he actually was one of the people, he wanted me to build him a website after I sent him this message. And I just said, hey, so-and-so, I would have one sentence that was just kind of casual. So one of these people had been on a podcast. So I was like, hey, so-and-so, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. Got so many gold nuggets out of that. Really appreciate it. Still kind of in the editing process and realizing like this is just going to be such a valuable podcast. Can't wait to release it. Also, I just started copywriting and I thought of you because I know you have an epic network. It's a compliment. And then you want to go from that compliment transition and be like, I just started copywriting. I know you have an epic network, so you were at the top of my list to reach out to. I just wanted to see if you might know anyone who needs a copywriter. I'm doing emails, sales pages, and ads, and I've been getting really good results with XYZ, so thought I would reach out. Total shot in the dark. Just thought I'd check in and see if you knew anyone who might need it. And the thing with that message is it's actually like an Alex Hormozi style message where you're not putting any pressure on that person to be your client. You're letting them know of your service. You're giving some credibility with your results, and then you're actually pitching their network. So you're asking if they know of anyone who would benefit from those services. What happened was 2 things. I had some people get back to me, actually 3 things. Some people got back to me. I'll get into it. There's more slides here, but some people got back to me and said, hey, that sounds amazing. I actually need a copywriter. I had multiple people do that. Second thing that happened was like, hey, I don't need a copywriter, but I know some people that do. Let me send you XYZ. And they sent me contacts. And then the third thing that happened is they just didn't respond, which you're going to get. And you're going to get a lot more of that if you send cold outreach. So we'll get into the actual numbers of like what that looks like. But number 1, you want to personalize these messages. So remember that like this is a casual message. It's not going to directly lead to a sale. That first sentence, the first 2-3 sentences, they should just be like referencing something in your friendship, your history, or maybe someone that you mutually know, or some recent event, or something that's like just casual. So like I referenced the podcast. I thanked them for it. I also pay them a compliment by saying how good it was. Okay, so keep that in mind. Like compliments go a long way. Highlight your skills. So you mention what you're doing, and also highlight something that you're doing. Like I highlighted that I had really good email open rates because I just been practice sending emails to my network. So I had been sending emails, and I'd been getting like 50 to 60% open rates, which is really good. And so I was just like kind of referencing that. I was like, I've been getting really, really good email open rates. Would be happy to. Oh, this is something else. I'll be happy to write some emails for free to see if it's valuable to them. That was good. Nobody actually took me up on that. They just paid me. But then the indirect pitch is when you are basically just asking if they know of anyone who needs your services. All right? Okay, now, day 3 is when you're going to start scheduling calls to discuss potential copywriting projects. When someone gets back to you, whatever it is that they say, like if they're like, hey, like I think I know someone, blah, 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 or hey, I have this project I've been working on, like can you help with this? Or hey, I really need something for blah, blah, blah. You just want to be like, awesome, let's jump on a quick call. We can see like what that would look like and if it would be valuable, you know, maybe I can give you some strategies and then we can go from there. And you book a call, all right? Your reply rate right now on day 2 is going to be probably like 20%. It's not going to be everyone. And then you want to set up that call, provide value on the call. So literally like solve a problem for them live on the call, provide value for at least 20 minutes. Like I really think, especially if you're a new copywriter, like you should have enough of a saturated mind of like strategy just from watching so many of these videos that you should be able to give them some value, suggest some strategies, and that's just going to show that you know what you're talking about. It's building authority in their mind. So solve a problem for them live and then book a follow-up. So you should agree on some type of scope on the call if it makes sense. And then you can watch my proposal video, but that's when you're going to set up a proposal, send it to them, and book a call. So you'll send that proposal right before the next call. All right, day 4, you're going to send a proposal before the follow-up call, like I said, provide some options pricing-wise, and get on another call within 48 hours. So this follow-up call is huge. You don't want this to be like a week out. Like they will forget about it, they will reschedule it, or they'll never show up, whatever. You want to make sure that follow-up call happens within 2 days. And then that proposal goes out to them no more than 24 hours before the follow-up call. and then close them, get a contract signed, payment made live. But this is day 4, okay? This might not have all happened yet because remember, there's just like a 20% open rate on day 4. So now or reply rate rather. Reply rate should be up to 30 to 40% now by day 4 because more people have had a chance to email or like see your email you back. So then you're gonna book calls with those other people. And keep in mind, like, entrepreneurs are busy. So if people don't get back to you, that's fine. And I'm going to talk in a second about, like, if you don't think you have entrepreneurs in your network, I promise you do. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, follow up with those people that haven't responded and book more calls with the people that have. Follow up 1, send the same message. So if someone hasn't responded, just resend the same message. You could tweak the beginning, be like, hey, following up on this, and then include the same message. Follow up 2. Now they still haven't responded after you sent them 2 emails. Address that they're busy. Say something like, hey, I know you're super busy. This probably got lost because I know you're crushing it in XYZ or whatever. Just wanted to follow up. And then follow up 3, you can just do 1 sentence, be like, hey, just following up on the above. But you definitely want to do at least 3 follow-ups. I like to do like 4 or 5. And you'd be shocked how many more people you get on calls if you just follow up. Because entrepreneurs are busy. Okay, like they have so many things, so many emails getting like blasted at them every single day that like they probably, if they're not responding, they just didn't see it. It's not that they're ignoring you. So follow up. Okay, that's day 4. You're getting more calls booked. You're sending some follow-ups and getting more people to see your emails. Okay, so yeah, reply rate will be up by then. But identify promising opportunities. So this is sort of like the kind of bird's eye view of the timeline. So you reviewed your network, you emailed potential clients, you followed up with prospects, you booked some calls, and now this is where you're going to consider offering some sort of free work. If you're totally new when you're getting on the calls with them, so it's the free versus paid, you got to decide, kind of figure it out, see what they're like. I like to go straight to paid. I don't really see the point of like working for free, like if people are willing to pay you. But if there's a lot of hesitancy on that call, you could offer to work for free for like a week or something, and then close and agree on an exact scope to sign the client. All right? Now, proposals and estimates for the most interested prospects. These are the people you're sending out actual proposals of the work you're going to do, and this should be reflecting whatever you discussed on that call. So on the call, you analyze their needs, you figured out what's something that's like a bottleneck for them, or what's something that they could be getting more sales from that they're not using. Maybe it's ads, maybe it's emails, maybe it's social media, whatever. But understand what the scope of what they need is, and then develop a strategy. So craft a plan, and that's your proposal. And on your proposal, you want to create some other items that could benefit their business, their offer, that maybe you didn't talk about. So maybe you talked about like emails and webinars, but maybe you also add like a cold traffic strategy on there to help them bring more people onto their webinar. And you just include that and you price it separately so they have options. And you'd be surprised how many people choose the add-ons, like they just want more. So that's a life hack, and I have a whole video on how to do that. So day 7 is when you're onboarding your first copywriting client. So this is also really important. If you've agreed on a scope now, you're actually bringing them on board. You want to book a game plan call after they've paid you, or this could be the call where they pay you. But this is where you're going to go over the strategy, plan the next week out with them live, tell them how they should expect to hear from you, what kind of KPIs they're going to see. Maybe they jump on a call with you once a week to review strategy, and when they're going to get that first deliverable, whether it's an email, an ad, a social media post, whatever. Get all of their brand and account info. You're going to need like sign-ins to their accounts if you're managing it. You're going to need all of the like brand details. And if you guys hop into the community that I've linked below, I actually give away like what the brand details I ask my clients for are. So you guys can ask them the same questions to make sure you have all of the different items checked as far as what research you need to do on them. And then let them know when they're going to get their first deliverable, like I said, so that like the expectations are really clear. And then you want to deliver exceptional copywriting, because this is where you get referrals, and referrals are like magic. They will be the best clients you have, and I get almost all of my clients from referrals now. Like everyone comes from referrals. And if you deliver excellent work, you go above and beyond to provide really, really high quality results, and then you track those results to make sure you're getting better and better, split testing headlines, split testing subject lines. Like you want to make sure you are getting them sales. And seek feedback, ask for feedback, make adjustments, request referrals once you've gotten them some results. That's key. Like you want to get them results first. So I have a masterclass coming soon. This is just a slide kind of like previewing that, but that's going to be coming in the next couple of days, and it's literally going to break down the fundamentals of writing good copy, everything I've used to help over 4 communities win the games, to add hundreds of thousands of dollars to my clients' MRR, and to be able to win the games myself, the school games, by the way, which is Alex Hormozzi's competition. So that's coming soon, but hopefully this is valuable. This last note that I will leave you with is, if you don't think you have entrepreneurs in your network, I promise you do. There's this saying that you're 6 people away from anyone in the world, and I used to not believe it, and I started to realize, like I looked at my network and some of the random people I knew who knew other people, who knew people, who knew people, who knew people, and I was like, oh wow, Like, I could get connected to literally anyone. Like, I met this guy who, like, I was working with on one of my old jobs, and he had worked for, like, SpaceX or Tesla, and actually hung out with Elon Musk's kids. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, this guy's one connection from Elon Musk's kids who are one connection away from Elon. Like, it was crazy. And so I was like, that's a great illustration. And I promise you have more people in your network than you think. And you can also create a network by going online, joining masterminds. That's how I met a lot of the entrepreneurs in my network now. I just paid for their mentorship, or I went to an event they were at, or whatever. But a lot of my initial clients just came from, like, friends of friends, friends of my parents, people I'd worked for, people I'd done content with, like, done a podcast, interviewed them, people I met at events. A lot of, like, my first 3K client was just a random guy that had a clothing company that I met in a free event, a networking event, and there was only like 30 people there, but, like, I happened to meet the guy that needed a copywriter. And I just talked to him for like 20 minutes about his business, about his goals, about his struggles, about everything he wanted to accomplish in the next year, why he was at the event. And then by the end of the conversation, I'd asked him so many questions, it was just natural. He was going to be like, so, like, what do you do? What are your goals? I was just like, oh, I'm a copywriter. I do marketing for online business owners. And he was like, oh, cool. Like, what is your, like, pricing start at? Because I need a copywriter. And I just totally blanked because I'd never, like, pitched somebody live. And I was just like, yeah, it starts at 3K. And he was like, okay. Cool, well, I need a copywriter, and I actually know someone who needs a copywriter, so let's get on a call. And I was like, 3K, like, he's okay with that? Like, I was in my head, I was like, this is a crazy number, but I just didn't care, so I just said it. And he became a client, and he sent me a client. And so that was, like, the beginning of my 10K month. So yeah, and I got to that event just by leveraging people already in my network. I just had friends that were going, and I, like, any opportunity I had to go to an event, even if it was online, like, I was there. And so that's going to be huge as far as building your network. But I promise you have people in your network right now that if they aren't entrepreneurs, they know someone who is. So leverage that and get creative, and then just go reach out to people. Be organic, be nice, like, add some value to their day, pay them a compliment, and these messages are going to do wonders for you. Like, getting that first client is huge because then you can tap into that referral effect, you can get some results, and you leverage that to get your next client. So hopefully this was valuable to you guys. Let me know if you have any questions down below. If you want to check out the community I mentioned below where I just share all of the live copywriting strategies I'm using right now, check that out. It's linked in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video.